Hey there, welcome to Okie Outdoor Adventures. Whether you're a returning subscriber or new to the channel, I wanted to let each and every one of you know that I appreciate your continued support. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing, liking the video, possibly sharing as we make that push to 1,000 subscribers. Now, today I wanted to talk to you about what is, in my opinion, the most affordable and best frog rod that I've found. Now, please understand that this is strictly based on my opinion, and I've gone through several rods in this quest to find something that I felt like was both within my reach from a budgetary perspective and had solid functionality. So, without further ado, I want to show you the Dobyns Fury FR735C. So, I don't know how well you can see this, but this is the Dobyns Fury FR735C. A little bit about this rod before I tell you why I feel, and not just provide anecdotal references here, this is the best rod. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on what I've got. So this is a 7.3 mag heavy fast action rod. It is rated for quarter ounce to 1.5 ounce baits. So you could throw small swim baits, obviously your frogs. You can use it for pitching, flipping, jigs, top water. I've used it for a little bit of everything. But I don't feel like it is restricted to that type of fishing. And what I mean by that is the rod is extremely sensitive. That fast action affords you fantastic sensitivity. So if you're throwing a jig, or if you get in a bind and you need to throw something not necessarily finessey, I mean, you could probably get away with it. But if you wanted to try and throw something like that, you've got that responsiveness that you really need. Now, this particular rod comes in at a price tag of around $120, which does make it maybe less appealing to the weekend fisherman, right? But with that in mind, I truly believe that this is and will be the last frog rod that you ever have to buy. So a little bit about what I love first about the Dobyns Fury 735. Number one, the Fury series, they just look good, man. You can go up a tier and get the Champion series, but something about the green on black, it just looks good with the matte black. It's not a high gloss finish, and more on that to follow. But things that I love, the great action, as I talked about with that fast action, that tip that's fast. You do have a lot of sensitivity. So when you're working a bait, for me, I always struggled to really walk frogs and walk poppers, walk spooks. I was really struggling with that, and I've found through adjusting my technique and with this particular rod, I can walk a frog or walk a spook considerably easier than, say, my Paragee or my my favorite. That's not to say that they're not good rods. I just have better luck with this. In that same vein, it is extremely sensitive. So you're picking up those bites, or you're constantly being pulled back. With top water, it's more of a visual thing. But if you're throwing a jig, you definitely want to have that sensitivity so you can know when your jig's been picked up and it's time to do work. It has a phenomenal, in my opinion, a phenomenal balance. So if I took the reel off now, it's an extremely balanced rod. It feels good in your hands. It's not too heavy. In fact, I think it's probably one of the lighter rods that I have, and it feels really good. I do like the cork handle. It's a little bit shorter in this version. My swim bait rod has the longer cork handle. But overall, I like the way that this feels. Okay, now that we've talked about what I love about the rod, there's a couple of things that I want to share that I loathe. And loathe may be a strong word, but you know, it's just things that I've found that rub me the wrong way, frankly. And it's going to sound like a contradiction, but when I mentioned the things that I love, the finish, this matte finish, it really picks up blemishes quite easily. So use your rod socks, protect your eyes, protect the integrity of the rod if they're getting thrown around a lot. I try and keep mine on a rack, but I'm not always successful. And when you travel, you know, you can get tossed in the back of the truck or in the front seat of the car, and they're going to rub together. So just use your rod socks. The reel seat in my opinion, the rod, or the rod seat, the reel seat, it feels really narrow. So you can't, I don't think you can see it in this example, but in my larger, my swim bait rod, and even on this one, I noticed that when you initially seat the reel, the lower part of the seat, the foot of the reel doesn't go in quite as deeply as you'd like, and you've really got to crank it down. It's not such a big deal in some cases, but if you're throwing a big swim bait or something heavy and you try and set the hook on it and your reel's not seated all the way, you're in for trouble. So there's a couple of things that you can do to iron that out. I don't recommend that you try and modify the reel or the rod in any way, but if you've made that investment, it's yours. Do what you've got to do to make it work for you. Yeah, this bait holder, and this thing drives me absolutely batty. The reason that I don't like it is it's very narrow. So if you're throwing something, a bigger sized hook, 8/0, 10/0, whatever it is, and it's got a large barb, it's almost impossible to get that to fit through that bait holder. I don't like hooking them to the eyes. I don't really particularly like hooking them on the reel where the guide is. You know, I'd rather use that bait holder for what it's made for. Obviously, that's kind of petty. Not a lot that you can really say about it other than it's just what I don't like. So I've got this paired up right now with my Shimano SLX, my 8 1-to-1. I can really sling this, guys, and I know that some of that is the reel, but you know, I read a lot of reviews where guys were talking about they felt like they were limited in casting distance with this mag heavy and that faster action. You know, they like a lot of guys like a medium heavy or you know, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I don't feel like I'm restricted on my casting distance whatsoever, and I'm still able to make relatively precision casts. So I understand that the market is extremely saturated. You've got other brands like Loomis, and you've got the Johnny Cruz, or John Cruz, I'm sorry, the Duckets, the St. Croix of the world. Those are, some of those that I just listed are in a considerably higher financial bracket than the Dobyns, at least the Fury series. I know that as you move up in the Dobyns series, the newer models, the Champions, and the later parts of the series, they can get rather expensive too. But the entire intention of this was to bring attention to you, the viewer, on an affordable frog pitching, jig flipping, small swim bait type rod that you can get for around 120 bucks, and it's really, really well made. So I've had this for a couple of months now, and I've absolutely put in work with it. Pulled several fish through heavy cover pads, just absolutely ridiculously thick, grass that is just, it would annihilate most other setups. So I'm pretty pleased with it overall. But I'd love to know what you guys think. If you've thrown a Dobyns before, specifically the Fury series, or if you're a Loomis guy, a Ducket guy, whatever, St. Croix, whatever it is, let me know in the comments what you think about those particular rods and why you feel like they would be a better alternative to the Dobyns Fury. But yeah, I'm digging this 735. It's phenomenal, and I will probably add a few more of them to my arsenal, but in a cranking series and maybe something with a little bit lighter action. So, very short video, guys. I know I've rambled on a little bit here, but in my opinion, this is the frog rod that we need but don't deserve. So, let me know what you think in the comments. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time on the water.